This is an introduction to AxciScape. I'm going to give a quick overview of its features so you can get an idea of what it does, what it can't do, and decide whether or not it's any use to you. AxciScape is Windows based only. It will only run on a Windows tablet, laptop or desktop. It's been optimized for data collection in the field using, say, a tablet, where you'd have a touch screen, so you'll be using your finger to select data from drop-down menus, pre-made comments, etc. It's essentially just a database with a built-in map, which is optional. You don't have to use the map. It's really designed for tree data collection, but it can be used for ecology. You could use it for butterfly recording, bird surveys, just about anything really. So it's a fully customizable database. It can also just be used in the office as a data processing program. You can import data from Excel or Word, plot it onto the built-in drawing, and then export to CAD. And one of the jobs I do is to create drawings for other arboriculturists. So I spend a lot of time importing data, importing CAD and plotting trees, and then exporting again. So it can just be used solely as a data processing program. So let's take a look at the program. This is the startup screen. To demonstrate it, I'll just click the demonstration file. It starts with the map screen, if there is a map with the database, which there is with the demo. And using the mouse, you can just zoom in and scroll around, much like any CAD program really. And you can see the trees plotted. This template which is being used is for British Standard 5837, so we have different colours for the categories. The pinkish circle is the root protection area circle. This is pretty much standard for the UK. And we've got at the top sort of main control menu. You've got the map screen, the edit screen and the list screen. So if I click the list screen, this just shows the schedule of, in this case, trees as a sort of Excel-y sort of layout. These are all the fields and these are the rows. So these are the individual trees. The edit screen just shows a single tree in details. If I select one there, hit the edit screen, it just sort of expands it a bit. And if you're in the field doing data collection, then this is the one you'll be using to enter data in, because with a finger on a small screen, it's a lot easier to hit these buttons and change data. And then the map screen, of course, is the same. You've also got a multiple button here. You would normally only use this in the office, so you're using a desktop or a laptop, and you can show multiple screens. If I show them all, list, edit, map, by side, I can change the size of the edit, and you can see all the trees together, all the windows together. If I select 10 on here, it's displayed here. If I hit this button here, it will zoom into 10. So that's the tree on the map, that's a tree in the edit screen, and that's a tree on the list screen. If I change any data on any one of these, it will change in all the other screens. If you're using this in the field on a small tablet, you will probably just use one screen at a time, because the tablet's display won't be good enough to show you all three. This will all be very small, so you generally just work from the map, whereby you would add trees and then go and edit them. So if I was to, for instance, add a tree, say here, I would select this little button here, and it's asking me to pick the position for tree, which would be here, say, and it will take me into the edit screen. I'll make that bigger again because And then you would enter the data. And all these red blocks means there are errors because we haven't entered any data, and that's simply to remind you to enter the data while you're in the field. You can disable these. You can select which ones show errors from this options box. But I'll enter some data, so I'll select T for tree. Tag, I can enter it, or I can just hit this, which will just give me the next tag number. Select a name, age. These are sort of BS style fields. So we've got categories. And if you're using your finger in the field, you can see how quick and easy this is. These are pre-made selectors, so if I hit any of these numbers, it will just use that, or I can enter something a bit more, with a decimal point, etc. Or I can just use this plus button, which increments by ½ meter each time. And of course, all this is customizable. These grayed out fields are called formulas, and you can't change them because they're built in. They're calculating the mean diameter and the root protection radius and the root protection area. If I go back to the map, it's now displaying the tree with my data. Click Edit Map. See them side by side. If I increase, say, the south canopy, you can see it increasing on the map as I click it. If I change the category to, say, A, then the color will change. And if I change the tag number will change. The list screen works much the same way, and you just click the cells and change the data. It doesn't have all the lovely features that this can offer. For instance, many times you'll be on site and there'll be a tree and all the north, south, east, west canopy dimensions are the same, so you might just say click 3, then hit that, and it will copy it into the other 3. You can't do that on the list screen. You'd have to do it individually. So you generally use the map and the edit on a tablet on site, and tend to use this more in the office. Comments. The comments can be conventional, just type in data, or you can have pre-made comments and just click them. Go to the edit screen, we can see that. And you can customize the comments, of course. Same with the recommendations. This template has the FSB, which is first significant branch, height and bearing. Many people don't use this. British Standard mentions it, so it's in the template that comes with AxciScape. You don't have to use it. You can delete these fields. So you'd say, well, the first branch is, say, 3 meters up the stem, and it's going northeast. And on the tree, which I've just done, which was 46, there she is. It's drawn a little arrow northeast, just to give you an idea of the FSB direction. Again, that's all optional what you display on the map. On the map settings up here, you can select what you show on the map. So if I hide the FSB, which is this radial line, then the FSB line's disappeared. So As I said, all these fields can be customized. So for instance, category, if I edit the field, you can see what's in the drop down menu here, and you can just simply add other things. Some people just like to use, for instance, A, B and C, and U, of course, rather than the subcategories built in. I can now select A, B or C from there. You can manage all the fields from this field screen. It shows the order that they'll be shown, so you can delete fields, add them, move them around. We have all sorts of things, some of which are not being used here. You could add a time and date, so it'll record the time and date of each tree being plotted. Create your own formulas. There's all sorts of things to explore. And each column, which you can highlight, has lots of functions to modify data quickly, covering all the trees. As I said at the beginning, you don't have to use a map. You can just work from this. You can add a tree just by clicking this button here, or you can copy and add an existing tree. I add one here, and then I can enter the data. Tag number 255. Etc. I'm not going to enter all the data, but you get the idea. You can use multiple numbers for the diameter because trees can have multiple stems. So if you wish to use multiple stems, you would click that and add each stem diameter in, so that shows all the 3 stems. The mean diameter is calculated from those using the British Standard method, and then it calculates the RPA. Again, the red background means there's an error. It's an error because you haven't entered any data, and you've decided up here that you want to show an error if you don't have any data there. So it shows E there, and it's got a little V there, which means sort of vertex alert. It means you haven't plotted it on any map. If you're not using a map, then they'll all be V. You can plot that on the map from here. You can just click the button there and then zoom to wherever the tree is going to be, say there. And it hasn't got a canopy because we didn't put any data in for it. I put some in. Then the canopy should appear. As I mentioned before, you can customize all these fields. So if I show the pick field, you can see the pre-made comments, and you can add, edit, delete. You can import. If you've got some already made, you can import them from text file, whatever, from Excel, and just add them. So I think that just gives you an overview of those features. If I go to the map screen, you've got loads of options. You can measure things, you can add sketch lines. Add photo sort of direction markers. You can triangulate and plot trees using the triangulation. So for instance, if you're out on site and there's a tree missing from the topographical survey which you're using, and it's over here somewhere, but they haven't plotted its position, and you're standing at this corner and you fire your laser at it, and it measures, say, 6 meters, and then you walk to this corner of the, I guess that's a building, fire your laser at the tree, and it measures 9 meters. Then you can then plot a tree where the two circles cross and enter the data as per normal. Just put some in there quickly. You've got a measure function, so you can measure on the map. You can measure angles on the map. You've got a little magnifier which brings up a little screen here, which is good on tablets in the field, because as your finger is going across the screen you can't see exactly what's under it. So you can, as you move your finger over the screen, you can see where it is exactly till you release it, and then you'll plot the tree. I won't go into all these others at the moment. There is a function to add images as a sort of background. You might want to add a satellite image and scale it onto the drawing. That's going to be a video on its own. But what I will just do is show the other types of entities we can plot. If I was going to, for instance, want to do a hedgerow down the side of this, probably a car park, and I'm going to select new tree, and I will select plot line, and you would then plot the center line of the hedge. So let's say it starts there, runs down here, click another position there, and it ends about there. Click finished. I'll put these on multiple so we can see it change, and I'll call this a hedgerow, each one. For my own surveys I would just look at all the stems and pick an average stem which covers all the stems. Let's say it's a hawthorn hedge, and it's got a diameter of 125 millimeters average. You'd click just one stem because you're just using that as an average, and I'll give it a category. So it shows the sort of center line as a dashed using the same category color. If I change that to blue, sorry, B, then it'll go blue. With these line option, it only uses one canopy dimension, which is north. So if I put in here 1 meter, it's drawn the green canopy line 1 meter from the center line. The root protection area line has been calculated to 1.5 meters, so that's 1.5 meters from this center line. Also, you might want to, say, draw an area, trees, a group of trees, which is filling a space, and it won't be a linear line, it'll be more of an area. So if I click again, and you would normally draw the line to the extents of the stems. So if I'm saying this group of trees, the extents of the stems are roughly here, and instead of just clicking finished, because if I click finished it'll just become a linear hedgerow sort of layout, close and finish, which will close these two vertices together, and I get a closed area. And again, I can call this G because it's a group of trees, group 12, and the average diameter for all these trees, let's say, is 350 millimeters. Again, I'm just using one stem to cover the calculation for this, and this can be A2. So it's drawn the root protection area around the stem limit, The RPR is 4.2, so this line is 4.2 meters from this line. I can check that. There you go. And again, it only uses a single canopy value. So if I put this at, say, 1.5, it's 1.5 meters. If I increase that, it goes out. I can of course copy it to the others, but it won't make any difference to the display. And you tend to use this for groups of trees, for woodland areas where they very often don't plot the trees on the topo plans. But also you can have a group of trees sort of cloned. If again I plot a new tree and I click plot multiple object, which means I'm going to have a number of trees which are all going to be clones of each other. And I know their positions. Let's say they're on the topo and I'm clicking the tree spots. So when I'll call this a group as well. Group 6. Category B2. And I'll give them all a canopy of 4 meters all the way around. And a diameter of 500. So they're all duplicates, but they are a single entry in the database. And if you look down here, single object, and line, closed line, multiple objects. So this is what I've just plotted, and I've plotted 9. There's 9 trees here. And you can manage this group by clicking this button here. You can then grab them and move them around. Or you can delete a vertex if you've made a mistake. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's delete that one. And add a vertex, because you may have missed one, say on that point there. And you can also change it to line, close line. It's gone a bit strange because that's the order I plotted the trees. Go back to object. And if I go to the map settings on this, there is a merge RPA line here. If I click that, it will actually merge all these circular RPAs together. Put a black dotted line around them. Also on here we've got a simple shadow arc, which won't show because there is no height. It needs a height to work. These ones have got the heights added. So if I give this a height, say of 10 meters, then it will draw the old BS shadow segment. That sort of gives an idea of the main features of the map. The other function up here is copy add. So if you're doing a line of trees and they're all practically the same, you might just want to copy add each one. So you'd click that, plot it, and you get an error because it automatically wipes out the tag number, asking you to put a new tag number in. And then you might do it again, because they're all identical trees. Very rare, but sometimes you'd do it and you might just change the odd canopy. That's all that needs changing. Maybe the diameter is just changed. And that can be very handy to save time on site. And for this introduction, I don't think I want to go into any more detail than that, because there's going to be a video for all these other things like the sketch function, the image function. I want to cover that in its own videos later on. But a word about the site plans. This uses precise topographical plans. It's not GIS based. It won't use Google Maps. It's not connected to the internet, giving you real-time GPS or anything like that. It just uses a DWG, which has been converted to a DXF. You import the DXF. The program optimizes it for speed. That's all it will use. You can use an image on its own. It's not entirely recommended. You could import an image, say, take a screenshot of a PDF or something and scale it. You need to scale any image to match the trees, otherwise you're going to have huge trees on a tiny drawing, on a tiny image. But it's important to know that this won't use Google Maps or anything like that. If that's what you need, then you need to use a different software program, and there are some out there. This is really for precision work where you've got an accurate topo. Can use OS plans. You can buy them online. They come as a DWG or DXF. They won't have any detail. They won't have tree positions on or anything like that, but they'll have all the roads and buildings. And for smaller sites, residential sites, where you're doing a garden and you haven't been supplied with topographical survey by this client, you could just buy a little OS plan for that area, £20-25, and load that in and triangulate the trees, or plot by eye. Normally you can plot by eye quite accurately on a small site because you've got lots of features to help you line up the trees, and that's something I have to do sometimes. So yes, you need to understand that this is DWG plans, DXF plans only. What I'll do now, I'll just run through the sort of main procedure of when you're sort of starting with AxciScape. I'll just reset the program. What you would do first of all is load a template, and if it's the first time you're using it, then you would probably use the supplied template, British Standard template, as your basis. So you would say open template, find your AxciScape workspace folder, demo files, and there's a BS5837 template and a phase 1 ecology template, which is very simple. BS5837, open it, and you get your fields coming in, and then what you do is save this straight away. You click the OpenIO interface button here, save the template to a different folder, your own folder, and rename it, and use that as your base template. And as you modify a template, you keep it updated and keep using that one in the future. So first thing you do is load the template, and then you'd want a site plan. So you'd be supplied with some site plan. I'm just going to use the demo file. So if I open the demo DWG, which you've seen before, into AutoCAD, and then save that as a DXF. So I've chosen 2018 DXF. Save. It already exists because it's going back into the demo folder. And that's the file format that AxciScape needs to import the DXF. You have to close it. AxciScape won't be able to access this file unless it's not in use. And I go back to AxciScape, and then I import the DXF. I've saved it into the demo files. There it is. and it's converted into a AXM file, which is an AxciScape map file, which is it's sort of optimized for speed and display, and it will show up there. The reason it's all one color is because I tend to use a single color when I'm working, and so click that off, see all the colors there, and you can increase the intensity. And you've got various functions here, which again is going to be another video. For instance, rotate. North is normally, 12 o'clock, but sometimes you'll get given a plan which is being rotated, or north's in a different direction. So you can change the angle here. I just put an angle in here, 70 degrees. Up in the top right, it will just come up to say north is now that direction. So we've got the CAD drawing in, we've got the template in, and I can add trees. You can add trees from any of the screens. I add a tree from here and put some data in. Just sort of show things. And of course, it'll appear in the list screen, but it won't appear on the map because we haven't plotted anything on the map. If the tree shows orange, that means it hasn't been plotted. If I now plot this there, and if I edit it again and put in a canopy, if I put 6 north, 2 east, 2 west, and 1 south, you can see that north is pointing to north, which is what we set. If I just give it a category, then it will show it better. If I go back to the map settings and switch off the rotate angle, then north goes up. It's normal. I'll just plot one more so I can do an export and give you an idea of how that works. So I'll just stick a tree here. Give this a 700. 10 all the way around. It's a big tree. I won't bother with the others at the moment because there's no point. So we've now got 2 trees in our list. And I'm going to export these to CAD. Now, the map itself isn't exported, only the tree data or any supplementary data like a sketch line. Say you want to just illustrate that there's an area of rubble or something there. You might just want to highlight that. You might want to annotate that. Sorry. No. And I might just want to put rubble, because it might affect the tree roots and you just need to make a note of that. So I've just added a little bit of annotation. So I'm going to export these to CAD. There's 2 ways to export. AutoCAD is generally used because it's our industry sort of standard program. Most professionals will be using AutoCAD. So you can use AutoCAD script, but if you're using a different CAD program which won't run this script, then you would export as a DXF file, and that would have to then just be loaded into the CAD program. I'm going to use the script. And you've got various settings, which I'm not going to go into here. That's another video. But needless to say, let's build it. And as it builds, it's put the file path name of the script into the copy box. So if I go back to my AutoCAD, I load in the original drawing. I would then run that script. Now I have made a hotkey for that to run it, but I'll do it manually. So I'll type in script, and then I'll just paste in the path. As soon as I hit open, it will plot those trees and the rubble and the annotation of the rubble. So there they go. It zooms in automatically. Throwing that to AxciScape. The reason they're different colors is because the settings, you can override the settings, so nothing to panic about. You just change the layer color as you wish. And that's basically that. I mean, it's as simple as that. But as I said, you can just export as a DXF. And it would put it into the workspace folder in the CAD export. I'm not going to do that because it's pretty self-explanatory. But it can also export as text, because you've got your schedule. I might do this with the demonstration file actually, because there'll be more trees to look at. I open him and then select export text. And again, I'm going to go through this on another video. Basically, you decide what you want to export, and you can modify, join fields together. You can join north, east, south, west together, so they go in one field, in one column in Excel, which I'm going to put this into. Export to clipboard, and then I would open Excel. And just paste. And you would probably have a pre-formatted sheet waiting, so you don't have to do this every time. I'll just centralize everything. And the data goes in the order that you requested. And that's really what AxciScape does. You know, it is just for data collection, data processing, data management. So I don't think I need to cover anything else in this introduction. I think that sort of shows what it's capable of doing. There's lots of other features and functions, but they really need to go into their own videos. You've got a little notes window, so you can add notes as you go around a site, and click a button. So when you save the data, this will pop up just to remind you of anything that you need to know before you look at the data. You can store photos in the program. There's a site surveyor form, so you can add various things. For instance, the date and time, etc. It's important to obviously save your database as you go around. Save it as you work using the save button. If you start another job and you've forgotten to sort of create a template from your last one, which you may have modified, you can just extract a template from a database. There's lots more features up on the IO interface. can import from ArborCAD, which is my previous program. Export a summary, which gives you just some statistics. So thanks for watching, and see you on the next video.